All right, Chiefs Kingdom, Dustin Davis checking in. The headlines are loud right now, but the real story starts with an under-the-radar decision that could reshape Kansas City's offense. Kansas City faces a decision that will define its next competitive window. The franchise that once seemed untouchable now confronts uncomfortable questions about roster construction, financial flexibility, and whether the supporting cast around its franchise quarterback can sustain championship-level football. Inefficiency at running back didn't single-handedly derail the 2025 campaign, but it exposed how thin the margins have become when multiple positions underperform simultaneously. The Chiefs front office must now determine whether to pursue premium talent or rebuild through calculated lower-cost additions. Beyond the offseason chatter, a Super Bowl week bombshell has Chiefs fans buzzing about what could have been. Let's check it out. First of all, let me take a moment to ask for your help. If you enjoy our videos, give us a like. It's a great way to keep the content going. Thanks for the support. The Super Bowl festivities have arrived with all their usual fanfare, though Kansas City finds itself watching from the sidelines this time. The week's programming continues regardless. Exclusive gatherings, high-profile discussion panels, and the relentless energy of Radio Row filling the airwaves. Amid that chaos, a Wednesday appearance by Fox insider Jay Glazer on Yahoo Sports Daily delivered a report that immediately captured the attention of Chiefs observers. Maxx Crosby, the two-time All-Pro defensive end, reportedly desires an exit from Las Vegas. The source of his discontent, according to league insiders, hasn't gone unnoticed. While Kansas City sits out Super Bowl week, the annual spectacle marches forward, packed with events, parties, and the constant hum of Radio Row conversations. Glazer's Wednesday appearance brought an AFC West development likely to intrigue Kansas City faithful. Crosby, one of the conference's premier defensive forces, reportedly seeks departure from Las Vegas. Multiple accounts trace Crosby's frustration to the Raiders' choice to bench him for the season's final two contests. The organization placed him on injured reserve, citing a knee concern. Las Vegas officials portrayed the decision as cautionary. Crosby faced an offseason meniscus trim. Yet an alternative interpretation emerged almost immediately. Removing one of professional football's most disruptive defensive weapons could potentially improve the franchise's draft positioning. Glazer openly labeled the decision unacceptable from Crosby's point of view at the time. News of internal discord naturally triggered speculation among Chiefs supporters about a potential blockbuster acquisition. Pat Mahomes, Kansas City's quarterback, has consistently expressed genuine respect for Crosby's abilities. It's a ton of respect, Mahomes stated ahead of a Week 7 divisional clash with Las Vegas. He characterized their off-field relationship as cordial, the type that conceals the ferocity displayed during competition, and highlighted Crosby's competitive essence. When you get on that football field, it's whatever it takes to win, and you're going to leave everything on the football field. And I have a ton of respect for that, Mahomes remarked. He emphasized that players embodying that mindset represent precisely the individuals organizations pursue when constructing a culture rooted in uncompromising effort. Despite how appealing a Crosby to Kansas City narrative might sound, evoking memories of previous high-profile acquisitions, the scenario remains highly improbable. Las Vegas secured Crosby last March with a 3-year, $106.5 million extension, binding him contractually through 2029. The Chiefs lack the salary cap capacity to accommodate that magnitude of financial obligation. Beyond fiscal constraints, the Raiders would almost certainly refuse to transfer a cornerstone defensive player to a divisional opponent, especially their primary rival. They demonstrate similar reluctance towards moving him to another AFC competitor. The contractual and strategic obstacles render the trade exceptionally unlikely. Nevertheless, for Kansas City supporters, the simple idea of Crosby seeking an exit and Mahomes potentially avoiding that particular matchup twice each season offers a modest, gratifying thought experiment. I'll be honest, the trade talk is fun, but the real win here is simpler. If Crosby's unhappy in Vegas, that's one less settled problem for the Chiefs to deal with twice a year. But have you ever stopped to think about Crosby's in Kansas City? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Shifting focus to the roster itself, Kansas City faces a critical decision at a position that's been quietly underperforming. While Patrick Mahomes progresses toward complete health ahead of 2026, the organization faces the parallel challenge of overhauling critical roster areas. The running back position exemplifies this necessity, as the group has lacked efficiency, adaptability, and staying power. The organization endured its worst campaign since 2012, finishing 6-11 and watching the playoffs from home. Getting Mahomes fully healthy stands as a franchise's paramount concern, yet the front office must simultaneously assemble a roster ready to contend the moment next season begins. Free agency looms, and one prominent name has surfaced as a realistic addition: Breece Hall, the New York Jets running back poised to test the open market for the first time since entering the NFL. Hall has spent 4 consecutive years with the perpetually struggling Jets, enduring losing season after losing season. He'll almost certainly pursue a landing spot that leverages his talents during what remains his athletic peak. Understanding Kansas City's current situation at the position provides essential context. Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco combined for just over 1,000 rushing yards this past year, with neither averaging 4 yards per attempt. Hunt accounted for 8 touchdowns, though most came in short yardage situations near the goal line. Both players are headed towards free agency as well. SpotTrack's projections suggest Hunt and Pacheco will each attract only 1-year offers, reflecting minimal interest across the league. Hall operates in an entirely different financial bracket. He's anticipated to secure a 4-year deal valued around $10 million per season. Though that marks a notable investment, it corresponds with Kansas City's requirement to add premium assets at a spot that's been lagging. Even following a catastrophic 2025, the Chiefs still perceive themselves as competing within a Super Bowl window. Pursuing Hall, or any significant free agent, depends entirely on Kansas City's capacity to address its salary cap constraints. The team currently holds the league's worst cap standing, sitting approximately $57 million beyond the threshold. Much of that deficit originates from restructuring elite-level contracts, including Mahomes, whose 2026 cap number surpasses $78 million, a genuine figure, not an estimate. Regardless of which player they target, cap restructuring is mandatory. The existing roster makeup offers neither maneuverability nor potential for growth, rendering any substantive 2026 improvement impossible without forceful financial adjustments. New York's organizational dysfunction hasn't stopped Hall from emerging as one of the few reliable contributors over the past 3 years. Operating within a dysfunctional structure, he eclipsed 1,000 rushing yards for the first time this past season. He hasn't yet entered the conversation among the top 5 performers, but at 24 years old, his developmental trajectory remains incomplete. A static offensive framework stunted his progression, yet his ability to maintain a 4.5 yard per carry average across 4 Jets seasons demonstrates his inherent skill. He also aligns naturally with Kansas City's offensive philosophy as a receiving threat out of the backfield. Hall has accumulated 1,642 receiving yards across 4 NFL campaigns, averaging 8.7 yards per catch. As a multifaceted, versatile weapon entering his prime years, he represents an unusual chance for the Chiefs to secure elite potential at a time when his market valuation remains comparatively manageable. Looking at this logically, the running back issue isn't about flash, it's about efficiency. Based on available numbers, Hall brings balance as a runner and a receiver, and that directly supports keeping Mahomes upright and the offense flexible. That's my opinion, but what do you think? But premium talent isn't the only path forward. Sometimes the smartest move is the one that flies under the radar entirely. Kansas City's running back situation has arrived at a decision point. Unreliable performance, contracts nearing expiration, and diminishing output have compelled the organization to reconsider its resource allocation at the position. Instead of pursuing only headline-grabbing acquisitions, the Chiefs might gain more value from strategic additions, players who can enhance schematic versatility while reintroducing physicality and effectiveness. Rico Dowdle matches that description. The franchise requires a running back reset, and the former Carolina Panthers ball carrier could fill a substantive role in that process. As professional football has advanced, the running back position has transformed dramatically. Though various styles continue entering the league, organizations have fundamentally revised how they assess the position's worth since the late 2000s. In the current era, using the first overall selection on a running back would be widely criticized as a mistake. Kansas City appears ready for a comparable shift in thinking. After failing to establish rushing consistency across multiple seasons, the team doesn't need a philosophical overhaul, but the depth chart demands reconstruction. Presently, only second-year running back Brashard Smith holds a contract extending beyond next season. With free agency on the horizon, the Chiefs are expected to examine both the legal tampering window and the NFL draft. Among possible acquisitions, one name emerges as a flexible option capable of adapting to matchup-driven requirements, environmental conditions, and momentum fluctuations during games. That player is Rico Dowdle. Last offseason, Dowdle wagered on himself following a 1,000-yard performance with the Dallas Cowboys, accepting a one-year prove-it contract with the Carolina Panthers. The Asheville, North Carolina native delivered instant value in weeks 5 and 6, posting consecutive outings that exceeded 230 scrimmage yards against the Miami Dolphins and Dallas Cowboys. Though his output declined as the season progressed, Dowdle was never positioned as the permanent answer. He functioned mainly as a short-term substitute for one of Carolina's young developing backs, Jonathan Brooks, who missed the entire season recovering from a torn ACL. Now approaching free agency once more, Dowdle has a chance to land a more secure position. Few destinations offer a better match than Kansas City, which is pursuing renewed vigor and dependability at the position. Dowdle runs with force and exhibits strong acceleration through initial and secondary defensive levels, enabling him to produce significant yardage gains. He routinely sheds tackles and shows composure behind the line of scrimmage, allowing running lanes to materialize. Though pass protection isn't his strongest attribute, he's proven capable of contributing in the passing game. Bringing in Dowdle would supply the Chiefs with a younger, more explosive alternative to Kareem Hunt, while preserving the option to draft a more elusive, dynamic back. His addition would broaden the skill diversity within the position group and provide Kansas City with a sensible, upside-oriented answer as it reconstructs its offensive foundation. When I step back, this feels like a value play, not a splash. Dowdle fits the modern approach: cost control, flexibility, and situational usefulness. If the Chiefs want steadier downs without overpaying, this type of move actually matters. But I'd like to know your analysis of the situation, so leave it in the comments. Before you go, hit that like and subscribe button. Be part of our community and stay updated. Let's keep Chiefs strong together. Catch you in the next one.